Carl and Liam here from Brrrains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. And it's We're Afraid of the Dark, our episodic recap of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Episode 4 from Season 2, The Tale of the 13th Floor, and the 17th episode overall, written by Anne Appleton and directed by Michael Kusk. So, the usual lot are out at the moment. Cast, we've got Trish Lindstrom as Karen, Aaron Ashmore as Billy, Johnny Keyworth as Gus, Pierre LeBlanc as Raymond. Could you get a more French name? Pierre LeBlanc.
Got to be making it up, surely.
It's got to be a stage name. It has to be. Susan Glover as Olga and Chris Heridal as Leonard. Yes, so only one bit of trivia here. Johnny Keyworth, who portrays the character of Gus, has actually previously appeared in the series before. Do you know where?
Sorry, who did you say?
Johnny Keyworth, he's Gus, the old lift operator. Do you know what episode he's appeared in previously?
No, I don't think so.
He's the mailman, Mr. Mitchell, in The Tale of the Nightly Neighbours.
Also, I don't know if you picked up on it. Is that the end of your trivia?
The only bit of trivia I've got.
Okay, the guy that plays Leonid, the really tall elevator guy, he also played Nosferatu in the previous episodes.
Oh, did I miss that? Oh, what caught? Oh, you're right, he did. Fucking hell, he did. I've got it here
Yeah,
in my notes.
I only picked up on that because of the actor himself. I recognize him from other things I've seen in recent times, some TV shows he's in and stuff like that. So he's still acting and stuff like that. Yeah, he's quite recognizable. He's got quite a, he's really tall, got quite an interesting looking face and stuff like that. So
He's a distinct actor, yeah.
very much so. And also, it's one of the Ashmore twins playing Billy. You got the Sean Ashmore as
shit, is that who it is?
Well, he's
Sean Ashmore's brother.
Yeah, he's very recognizable. I remember I told you not long ago how there's two Ashmore twins
that are
completely identical, and I'm not even sure which one plays what role. Who's like Iceman in X-Men, or who's the actor in Quantum Break, and so forth. It's harder to know which is which. I'm not even sure which one this is.
I do know Sean Ashmore's work a fair bit more. He is Iceman in X-Men. He is in Quantum Break. He is in The Boys as well, as Lamplighter. And he's done a fair few horror movies. So I'm actually way familiar with Sean Ashmore. I do remember us going through this and me being quite stunned by how alike they are. Also, Sean Ashmore is the sheriff. Is it Sean Ashmore the sheriff in Alan Wake 2? Or is it Aaron Ashmore? Oh my God.
That's a really good question. It's really hard to tell because they're so identical looking.
Insane. Okay. Kristen had broken at the top with stories, but Betty Ann now reaches her. This is Betty Ann's 4th story overall, but first for season 2. And I promised you at a point we were going to start doing storyteller rankings, and we're now going to introduce them. And every so often, every couple of episodes, I'll throw in where we are now. So in joint first place with 4 stories each, it is Betty Ann and Kirsten. So out of what's that, 13 plus 4, out of 17 episodes, 8 of them have been done by Betty Ann and Kirsten.
Almost half, yeah.
Yeah. Joint second with 2 each, we have Frank, David, Gary, and Eric, though of course we won't get any more from Eric going forward, so he will never move from that position. But yeah, everybody else is joint second except Kiki, who is last, 1 story.
Oh damn! Which one was hers again? Do you remember?
Ooh, I don't. I didn't actually write that down. I'll do that next. Right, I'll promise I'll do that going forward as well. In brackets, I'll add each person's story as well.
Okay.
So yeah, Kiki's slacking. But I'm 99% sure. I looked ahead. I'm pretty sure the next one, episode 5, whatever it is Kiki. So she'll be pulled up there as well. But by the end, we should have a very clear understanding of who told the most.
Yep.
Okay, this episode begins with Kirsten, David, and Betty Ann trying to scare Frank, Gary, and Kiki at the campsite, using torches to imply they might not be who the others think they are. You see us every week, but do you really know us? Do you really know anyone, even yourselves? To be fair, it's a rare event where what they're doing actually ties into the story.
Yeah, I actually noted that I thought this was an introduction that I actually enjoyed for once, which it is, it's good because normally you just want to get to the story and stuff like that. But I think this is a nice little setup and a little to lead into the story. Yeah.
Agreed. And it is a Betty Ann story, and she begins by explaining that her story is about strangers among us. We see them every day, but never take the time to look. But if someone did, one might find that the scariest strangers are the ones inside ourselves. And I was like, you just ripping off Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This isn't your story. You stole it. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. This is the tale of the 13th floor. And the story takes place in an old apartment building with 13 floors. The 13th floor is deserted. No one lives there. And apparently the last tenants mysteriously disappeared years before. Now, my God, as an apartment block, you were never going to convince me for a second that that 13th floor stayed empty as long as it did. I think this building comes across very affluent. Like, you've got to have money to be living here.
I think so. Yeah.
2 kids, Billy and his adopted sister Karen, live on the 12th floor, but like to hang out and play on the 13th floor. One day, when going up the play in the 13th floor, they get talking to the elderly elevator operator Gus, who apparently has never spoke to them about this before and now decides to tell them that he worries about the kids playing there, especially with the mysterious disappearance of the previous occupants. That's where we find out about the people that previously lived there. And the kids and sister are fine, so Gus leaves them to play hockey. So effectively, it almost looks like a warehouse at the top. It's just a big, open, very open plan apartment. Karen doesn't want to play, seeing as she's not very good at it. And when she misses a shot, complains that if she had his genes, she'd be better. No, she's not talking about his clothes, but rather the fact that she's adopted. So that's dropped in there. Billy points out that she always uses her adoption as an excuse for not being good at stuff. And then things get weird. As a loud noise startles the kid and flashes of light shining through the windows, everything begins to shake and the kids decide to leave. The elevator takes a while to come, and inside is a tall, long-haired man who tells them that Gus had to leave and he has taken over, introducing himself as Leonard, and obviously untrusting of this really odd-looking stranger with massive shoulder pads in that jacket. The kids decide to take the stairs. So let's have a quick recap here. Introduction of the kids, all solid, both fine actors. Immediately things start to get weird. I didn't think I remembered this episode. Didn't have anything about it, but there's going to be a point coming up later on where, like a bolt of lightning, it was like it all came flooding back to me. That's later. But for now, I presume you're quite familiar with this.
I am indeed. It's a frustrating thing to deal with sometimes watching these episodes, knowing exactly what's going to happen. But it's also like interesting, like I always say, to see how they hold up, knowing what the eventual twists are going to be. But I'm interested to find out what point you're going to get that bolt of lightning.
All right. That night, Karen is asleep when her TV turns on and a man appears over the static and speaks directly to Karen. Of the things he says, the most intriguing is the words, "We have come to visit." Believing she is dreaming, Karen goes back to sleep, and I quickly cottoned on what this episode was doing. I worked it out. I don't think it's trying to trick you too much either, though. I think it kind of wants you to.
I think so. I think like there is a twist coming, obviously, and I think it doesn't necessarily. It feels like at a point it's doing a really bad job of hiding it, basically, and I'm not sure whether that's intentional.
Yes. Obviously, that twist will come at the end, and oh my God, I'm going to rant. The next day, Karen and Billy are heading to the 13th floor, but find the stairway door locked. They try to use the lift, but run into Leonard, and he informs them that they can't go to that floor now as the new tenants are fumigating. Oh, new tenants, huh? It surprises both Karen and Billy, with the latter claiming it's their floor. Well, it's fucking not. Behave yourself. Disappointed, they leave and go out on their bikes. Later coming home, Karen is telling Billy about a dream, but Billy isn't paying attention as he finds a letter for her in the mailbox. Inside, Karen finds a strange invitation. She's been invited to come check out the new toy company on the 13th floor of the building. And I always been like, wait, what? How does a toy company move into an apartment building at the top? What?
Silly kids.
Indeed. Apparently, the toy company wants to test new toys and sports equipment on kids, and she's invited for any time the next day. Take note of that there, folks. She's invited for any time the next day. Shop what she wants. Karen,
Yeah,
knowing that she's a yeah, you know what I'm
I was going
heading
to say,
towards.
yeah, go on.
No, I'm going to leave it until we get to that specific point. Karen, knowing she isn't very good at sports, doesn't really want to go, so she gives the invitation to Billy, but Billy convinces her to go. Hey, look, you go, we might get some free stuff out of this. Yeah, I would expect so.
Just I don't know, man. I've never seen like so many clear red flags that you think these supposedly smart kids should pick up upon. You know, they're so far they've portrayed them as being quite streetwise kids, especially Billy, and it's like can't be this naive, surely. You know, you often wonder how many kids always getting kidnapped and blah blah blah. Like, and where are the parents? You never see any parents in this. I know there's a particular reason why for one of the characters, but I mean for both of them, obviously. Where are the
Yeah,
parents?
yeah, they're not actually in this episode. I presume it's summer, like it's summertime, so they're out of school, hence why they're not going. Do you know what I mean? Like, but nothing like that's ever really added.
Yeah.
All right. That night, Karen wakes up once again to a television coming on. The same man appears on screen, and Karen's attempts to turn it off fail. The man asks her to come tomorrow, and in her sleepy state, Karen just simply agrees. I like that, though. I do like that, because sometimes the whole sleeping thing can be done really poorly in movies and TV. And here I really got the vibe that, yeah, you just think you were dreaming and he was sleepy. Yeah, whatever, man. Let me go back to sleep.
Yeah, true.
The next day, Karen has decided to go to the 13th floor, but only if Billy comes with her. So there's a little bit of new little bit smarts there.
Mm.
Arriving on the floor, they go through a door and stare at wonder at the bright colors and weird gadgets. And that bolt of lightning hit my brain. And this was it. It was the interior of the 13th floor. And from this point on, everything was there. I just remembered everything that follows. It was insane. I don't know what it was about the visuals, because it looks like
Mm.
it looks like a child's playhouse more than a sort of Are You Afraid of Dark thing. But like it just brought it all back.
Yeah, no, I think it's it's definitely memorable. The visuals and all the practical effects and that they built here, I think is really, really cool.
They're then met by a woman who introduces herself as Olga. Olga is pleased to see Karen, but tries to send Billy away. However, Karen insists on Billy joining her, and you can kind of see by Olga's face she's reluctant to let him in too, but doesn't really have a choice in the matter. So she leads the siblings to another room filled with all sorts of toys and gadgets, such as toy dogs, huge letter blocks, bowling pin sets, all these sort of things, I guess, that a kid might find interesting. And Olga introduces them to her assistant, the technician, Raymond, who will explain how everything works. Raymond isn't pleased to see Billy, but Olga tells him, look, just go with it. And they're taken to a table game where the object is to tap the right buttons to replay the right sequence they just heard playing. So it's basically like Raymond taps some buttons and then others light on their table and they have to follow the sequence. It's Simon Says, that game.
Yeah.
It is a coordination game to see who can react the fastest, apparently. And as they start playing, Billy wins with ease, but Raymond starts to turn a wheel that seems to make the game harder and seems to have effect on Billy. Karen now starts to win happily that she's actually beaten her brother for once, but does get a bit concerned when Billy starts to look a bit sick, but he insists he's fine. Karen ends up winning and is taken to the next game while Billy is left to practice. So yeah, you get that sort of it's a fairly drawn out scene, but I guess we know it's for us to know something odd's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, folks. While this episode is making sense at the moment, it is slowly going to fall apart. Meanwhile, the elevator has arrived with Leonard inside, and we see him asking Olga if she will be ready, and Olga claims she will, but we have the problem of Billy being there too. Leonard points out that they don't have much time, as they have to leave by 6, as we see a clock saying time has just gone 5. And I was like, you are right. If you're going to put a fucking time limit on yourselves, you idiot, why make the invite for any time? Why not make it an appointment based where you say, please be at the floor for 10 a.m. and then you have all bloody day. Instead,
Yeah,
you let her turn up when she wants. What if she'd gone, I'll turn up there at 7, an hour after you'd all supposed to have left?
that's
Idiots.
true. Good point.
It's dumb writing designed to create a tense, fast-paced end, but it just makes no sense, so it just comes across dumb.
True.
Karen is taken to another part of the room, and Raymond shows that he has telekinesis powers. He encourages her to try and move a ball with her mind, and she's able to do it. Naturally, Karen is impressed and slightly shocked. Not like as shocked as I feel I would be if I could suddenly move things with my mind, Jedi style.
Very true. That's very true.
She attempts to get the attention of Billy to show him. However, he's not okay. Now very concerned about him, Karen demands to know what's wrong with him, but Raymond ignores her. He tells her that they're going on a trip and turns the wheel again. And this seems to cause Billy pain, and he slumps over the table. Demanding that he stop, Raymond now reveals that he's simulating the atmospheric pressure of their home to make sure she will survive there. Karen is to be transferred to their ship, and as the seat she's in begins to rise, Raymond pulls off his face to reveal he is an alien. His real face is solid white and blank. So there's your big reveal. Kind of. Karen screams in terror when she sees this and asks Billy to help her, but Billy has passed out. Getting control of herself, Karen uses her new telekinesis powers to mess with the room's settings, getting herself out of her seat and opening a vent that removes the alien atmosphere. This seems to freeze Raymond in place. As Karen tries to rouse Billy, the sound of Olga arrives, forces her to side a wall vent. I got very confused here, and it's going to continue with the Raymond freezing thing. Did you follow that well at first?
Of course not. No, that he can be frozen. No, I didn't really get what they were going at there, but they do, like you said, explain it, I suppose.
Yeah, but that creates another question that I have, but I guess we'll get to that. Olga restores the atmosphere and unfreezes him with a remote. They discuss the time that they are losing. Oh, it's your own fault. Seeing Billy out cold, remarking that Earth children are such poor specimens. Raymond quickly discovers where Karen is hiding and gives chase. They both end up in a hallway, and Karen uses her telekinesis to bring ceiling tiles down on him, giving her a chance to escape. She ends up back in the room and tries to wake Billy again, but Raymond is already directly behind her. But this time, Karen is able to use the remote to freeze him again. And I was baffled here. I'm like, what the fuck is this remote, and why is it freezing him?
I agree.
Karen now uses the wheel to lower the atmosphere, but before she can finish it, Olga comes in, so Karen has to hide. Olga unfreezes Raymond by pressing a button under his shirt. And I was like, wait, so they're robots and aliens?
Yeah, not necessary, I would say.
Olga sends Raymond off to find her, then reopens the chute to and that is actually a good effect. I didn't mention before, but the chute with the sort of beckoning aliens above, I did actually quite like.
Yeah, it was creepy, I thought.
Karen runs to the elevator where Leonard is waiting. Of course, she now finds out that he's also a bad guy and tries to use remote in here, but he reveals to her that they're not all robots and not to let her confusion blind her. Listen to her instincts and follow her destiny. That's just words, mate. That is just fucking words. He adds it's time to expand her horizons to see another part of the universe. Listen, I know they're worried about startling her, but you've gone too far now. You've startled her to such a degree, you saying, listen, you're one of us, isn't going to make a shit bit of difference to freaking her out.
Yeah, I mean, they had a long time to figure this out, this plan. It's gone horribly wrong.
Indeed, because one of the dumbest things of all was using the robot Raymond to deal with all of this. Why not Olga?
I know she repeatedly keeps asking him to fix it and him to go out there and get her and blah, 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 even though he fails multiple times.
She says what? Yeah, absolutely stupid. But Karen pretends to be taken in with it. But when Leonard reaches out for her, he shows that he's got weird hands and she runs off scared. And we hear a computer voice saying that there's 10 minutes left. Oh, I desperately wanted that voice to sound more like Resident Evil. 5 minutes until detonation. After trying to get help from other floors, Karen decides she's got to go back and save Billy. And we see Billy has finally woken up and is able to move. Karen now controls Raymond using the remote to hold Olga in place. So, again, is to highlight how useless Raymond was, and the kids head off. On the way out, Leonard once again tries to persuade Karen to trust him and go with them. And Leonard explains it's beautiful there. She can fly like a bird and see straight through to other worlds. That does sound pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Karen points out that she heard him say that Billy would die there. And Leonard points out that he doesn't belong there. But at no point add, you do, because you're actually one of us and I'm your father and she's your mother or whatever.
Might want to slip that in there too, but
Yeah,
maybe not.
just drop it in. Carol refuses to go and her and Billy get in the elevator. The computer now announces lift off in 30 seconds and Leonard tells her that she's making a big mistake. When Carrie and Billy get back to the apartment, they're relieved to be home. They then see some flashing lights coming from outside and see what appears to be something taken off and leaving. And there you go. So aliens leaving, that was what had to happen. And now we're going to get you a big reveal and explanation in what makes no sense. The television comes on revealing Olga. She explains that they were here to rescue Karen after she was accidentally left behind 10 years prior. Okay, park that. Let's park that and come to that in a moment. Olga would have explained everything when the proper atmosphere brought all her senses back. Let's park that. Olga now explains it's too late now because they've run out of atmosphere. Whoop, right, I'm on. Whoop. And it'll be another 10 years before they can come back again. As she ends her message, Olga turns into a true black face, white alien form. What the fuck? What? Right. Let's start with accidentally leaving her behind 10 years prior. Now, I don't know if Olga is her mother, but I'm going to presume she is, because that surely is how it's set up. You left your child on an alien planet. Worst mother ever. This isn't leaving her in a fucking food court in a shopping mall. You left her on an alien planet. Wow. Problem number 2. Okay, so you needed proper atmosphere for her senses to come back. So why play coy with it? Why not flood the entire fucking building with it so her senses come back without you even having to be involved to a certain degree? Why bother doing stupid games to begin with? Just hit them with the atmosphere, blast it in her face and all that kind of thing. All right, fine. But now they've run out of atmosphere, so they can't stay. What? Because they will die. That is what has been implied here. How did Karen survive?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, I mean, when you break it down like that, it's very flawed.
Then why is it going to take you 10 years to come back? Why 10 years? Why don't you have, presumably your ship has atmosphere. Like, none of it makes sense. And I'm not overthinking it. It's all really fucking dumb.
I think that the problem with this episode is the twist is incredibly predictable, but they purposely try and avoid revealing it because they want to have a twist at the end. They want to have this big reveal at the end. So they have the characters being really incompetent, doing nonsensical things to try and get her when they could, like you said, they could just take her to the side and tell her at any point, but they just don't. They do all these cryptic things instead for who knows what reason they don't explain. And they only do that because that's how they're written. And that they don't want you to know what the twist is because they want it to be some big reveal that's like shocking at the end, and that's it. That's the only explanation.
You know, if the sensible thing would have been to literally kidnap her from her apartment, tie her up, blast her with atmosphere, and then when her senses come back, untie her. Everything's good.
Yeah, like no, but instead they do that the whole long-winded thing of giving her an invitation to what they think is then a toy store, and they even like kind of make it look like a toy store because when they first come in, there's these toy-like things. It's so like convoluted. It's insane. It's actually insane.
And it's dumb. That's it. That's what I come down to. And as you said, the twist is because Billy's all like, well, that's crazy talk. And asks Karen what she's talking about. And the camera pans over, show that Karen has turned into a true alien form, and Billy runs off screaming. And dun dun dun. There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Back at the campsite, Betty Ann says that you may think you know someone, but think again and look a little closer. And that's how the episode ends. The thing is, right, dumb as it is, I am going to say that this has entertainment value. It does overall have a level of entertainment value. It's almost like watching something like Demolition Man, where you have to unchain your brain to enjoy it. And if you're willing to do that and just go with the nonsense and just buy into it, you can have fun with it. If you stop and start overthinking things, and as we do here, break it apart, you just find flaw after flaw after flaw after flaw, and so on and so forth and so forth. And that's the review aspect of it. But from a personal thing watching it, I was entertained to a decent level that I think that while this one isn't a great episode, I think I'd put it in, if it's a tier ranking, in good or all right.
Yeah, I think You nailed it. It's one of those episodes where there are times when I make the decision to be like, what if a child was watching this? You know, like you said, when you're watching with your adult mind, you're being super critical. That's
Mhm.
one thing, but sometimes you just have to take that out and put in your child's brain, and leave your more rational brain at the door, like you said, to just think about how a kid might see this. And if you look at it from that perspective, I do think it is a decent enough sci-fi story with enough peril and danger involved that I think kids would probably really enjoy it. And maybe they wouldn't see the twist coming. They wouldn't actually think they'd see that, because obviously I watched this when I was quite young. I don't
Yeah.
recall. It's one of those things we probably were quite surprised as a kid seeing it. So you just got to kind of look at it that way. And if you look at it that way, then yeah, I think it's okay.
I think that's a fair summation. I think it's something important for us to do that as well. While obviously happily able to criticize it from the adult perspective as well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going, okay. Also, from a child's perspective, it's a lot of there's fun to be done. And I do think you're right. I think if a younger person may struggle to find that twist obvious as in the way we are. We're kind of used to it as well, because we get had so many twists and goosebumps, and we still get them with "Are you afraid of the dark?" I don't necessarily always expect it from "Are you afraid of the dark?" I'm not surprised when I can see one coming.
Yeah, sometimes because, like you say, you're used to it, you're really searching for it, and that sometimes like this, they'll do a poor job of hiding it. Yeah.
There we go. If there's one thing about season 2 up to this point, there is variety in the stories. We can certainly say that. This was episode 4, The Tale of the 13th Floor. You got any thoughts and you know what to do? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website, where reviews, news, and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at gbhbl. Just search for gbhbl and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.